this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all.
And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
My strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, oh. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, oh.
And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop, stop it up, don't stop. Turning back, I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate, I attack. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't stop, just give it up, don't stop.
time. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored again?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. How are you guys all doing today? I appreciate you guys all coming and hanging out with your boy Tino this afternoon, on this Tuesday afternoon, as we get ready. We're going to recap week 8 of the fantasy football season, and then we're going to get you ready to set your lineup for week 9 and hopefully lead you to another victory. Hopefully all the information that I'm giving you guys every week is helping you out winning your week, and you're not doing as bad as I am, because I'm doing very bad. Last week, I went 3-0. I was feeling good. And then this week, we went back to losing, and we went 1-2. But that's okay, because I'll still be here to help you guys, because, that's what I got to do. So, let's not waste any time today, because today was the NFL trade deadline, guys, and a lot happened. So, let's get in, and let's start off with the headlines, as elite quarterbacks went bananas. Christian McCaffrey had a triple crown. He threw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and he rushed a touchdown. First time in a long time, since I think 2005, that somebody has done it. Jets and Giants are human. They came back to life, guys, and I just cannot believe the Jets and Giants are human. The Bears, and let's get to it, because, we started off, the Bears decided they wanted to trade Roquan Smith to the Ravens. The Bears got a couple picks. They got a second rounder, and then they got another one, and they didn't decide to trade that pick to the Steelers. They decided to trade their second round pick to the Steelers in next year's draft for the wide receiver, Chase Claypool. So welcome to Chicago, Chase Claypool, and happy to have you. I think this is a big and good find for the Bears to help Justin Fields get himself going in the passing game. Speaking of the NFC North, though, we had another trade that went down, and this one kind of is confusing, because I don't know why the Vikings would give the best, or I don't know why the Lions would give the best team in the NFC North their tight end, when, it just don't make any sense to me. But the Lions traded away T.J. Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings for a second-round 2020 third pick, a 2024 third-round pick, and the Vikings also received a 2023 fourth-round pick and a conditional 2024 draft pick. So the Vikings got themselves a tight end with Irv Smith Jr. going on the IR. The Miami Dolphins, they got Raheem Mostert, but they said, why not? We need some more offensive weapons. They went out and they got Jeffrey Williams from the San Francisco 49ers. And honestly, this is the best news for a Jeff Wilson owner, because now he goes to the Dolphins. He might not be a complete number one, but at least he's in a better spot to get more points than he would be with the 49ers, because after what we saw Christian McCaffrey do, and we'll talk about that later, it was crazy. So, I think that's a good trade for the Dolphins, though. Speaking of the Dolphins, though, they weren't done yet. They went to Denver, and they got Bradley Chubb. They also received a fifth-round pick, and they traded away a first-round pick, the San Francisco pick. They traded a fourth-round pick, and then they also got the Broncos traded away. The Broncos, I should say, got Chase Edmonds. So that's another thing. With Chase Edmonds going to the Broncos, that opens a spot for Jeff Wilson. So I think Jeff Wilson, if you still have him or you picked him back up, if you're holding on to him, I think he's a good play. And another one that went down, and this one actually happened as I was about to go live, Nyheim Hines was traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills said, we have Diggs, we got Singletary, we got Dalvin Cook's little brother, we got Gabe Davis, we got Isaiah McKenzie. Let's just add the Colts' second wide receiver, 1B pretty much, to Jonathan Taylor. Because let's be real, if Nyheim Hines was on any other team besides the Colts, and now the Bills, he would be a number one. I think he could be a number one on the Bills. I don't know how this does to Singletary, guys. We'll have to figure out Singletary. But the last big trade that went down, we did have a few other little trades and stuff like that, but another big trade that went down is suspended wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons. Calvin Ridley has now been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and as you guys know, Calvin Ridley has been suspended because him betting on the games and this and that. But Jacksonville gets themselves a wide receiver, and once he comes back, you know he's going to have something to prove, and he's going to want to prove something to everybody. So I think that's a big play and a big boost for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of trades went down, guys. Like I said, we saw Roquan Smith go to the Ravens. We saw a few little trades go down throughout the past week and stuff like that. Like Christian McCaffrey. Well, I mean, I guess another big one was Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey got traded. Roquan Smith got traded. Robert Quinn got traded. There was a lot of trades that went down. But today was crazy. I couldn't keep track. I was like, damn. I was like, dang, I was like writing it down every second. I'm trying to keep up with Adam Schefter. I got to keep the show going, NFL Live, so I know what's going on, everybody. But those are all the trades that are going down. And if I see any other ones while I'm watching NFL Live in the background, I'll let you guys know. But let's get to some more headlines. Because Halloween, guys. It's Halloween. Every year. I don't know if you guys remember the one year, but I always remember this year. The Bears were like 1-5, 1-6. They were going up against the Minnesota Vikings. They were doing this and that. We play on Halloween. Jay Cutler played quarterback. The Bears won. It was wild. And that's exactly what happened last night. Halloween night, going into Cleveland, going into the dog pound. Cincinnati's feeling good. They're coming off throwing a bunch of bombs off the Falcons. And Joe Burrow forgets how to play football. Jacoby Brissett plays a game of his life. And the Cleveland Browns, that's halftime. I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns were up 11-0 at halftime. And then they decided and they scored a bunch more points. The Browns only gave up 13 points. So that means literally they gave up 13 points. The Bengals had a record of going into the second half of not giving up touchdowns. And Jacoby Brissett said, what does that mean? That means nothing. Halloween was a crazy one, guys. I just can't believe it. So, those are the headlines for Week 8. And going into Week 9. It's crazy. We got injuries, though, people. We have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of, a lot of things. So now that we did that, and now we talked about the Monday night game, and we talked about the trade deadline, we talked about the headlines, let's get into those injuries, because we had a few injuries and we had a few scares. Cooper Kupp had a knee injury. I watched the play live. I thought he'd be down for a little bit longer, but he wasn't. And he got up. He walked off the field. They said he should be okay. But for a second there, I really did think that Cooper Kupp might be out for the year. And all the Cooper Kupp owners were going to not be okay. Ezekiel Elliott. He was out with a knee injury. And Tony Pollard went out. He scored 33 fantasy points. He had 2 touchdowns. He made the Bears defense look like Pee-wee team. And with Zeke out, it's one of those things that, you just don't know. And if he's out, Tony Pollard is a must start. I think he's a must start no matter where you go. We also have Adam Thielen. He has a knee injury. Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings. So keep an eye on that, because like I always say every week here at Tino's Time when we do this, it is only Tuesday. Injuries could pop up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We could see guys added on Sunday morning. You just have to keep an eye on it. You got to keep an eye on the injury report. Speaking of a guy on the injury report, and some people like me may have a big decision to make, because Mark Andrews, he's got a shoulder injury. He didn't catch the ball very much. He didn't have himself a very good game where the heck did they play last? They played Tampa Bay. When they played Tampa Bay, I forgot for a second. When Mark Andrews and the Bills played Tampa Bay, he only had 3 catches for 33 yards. He didn't have a very good game. He left the game. He didn't come back. So if you have Mark Andrews, he's playing on Monday night. And for me, an example, I have Dallas Goedert, and he plays on Thursday night. So I have to debate, do I want to wait on Andrews, or do I want to play Goddard and hope that my man Jalen Hurts can throw a touchdown to Dallas Goedert on Thursday night? I don't know, just one of those things. So keep an eye on it. James Conner, ribs injury. James Conner supposed to be back, and he was supposed to come back, but he didn't, and everybody thought Eno Benjamin, including me, I thought Eno Benjamin would be a great start. Was not very much so. Eno Benjamin is on our disappointments for the week, and we'll get to that, because it was just not a good time. Because these injuries killing us, guys. We got bye week blues, bye week galore. We'll talk about all the teams on a bye week. We're down to the nitty gritty. It's kind of gross. We got like 6 or 7. We got 6 teams on a bye. So it's nuts. We'll figure it out, though. I got you. I'll give you players in a little bit that will help you set your lineup. But now that we talked about the injuries, and like I said, like I always say about the injuries, just keep an eye out on the injury report throughout the week to see what happens. But now that I did talk about the injuries, let's go into the 3 things that I learned before we get into the guys that were straight up disappointments, and then the guys that if you started them, you won this week. Because like I said in the headlines, running backs came up and they scored big time. The elite running backs that we all drafted high finally did what they needed to do. And so let's get into the 3 things that I learned this week. One of the things that I learned this week is that Burrow needs Chase. It obviously proved yesterday when they went up against the Browns. Maybe it was because it was Halloween that I just, maybe it was because it was Halloween that, they didn't play great. I don't know. But obviously it proves that Joe Burrow really does need Jamar Chase. And I see you guys in the chat. Chris, let me answer your question right now. Can I expect low-end running back 2 production from Herbert even with... Honestly, Chris, I would start Herbert as a flex every week because it seems like the Bears like to use Herbert more than Montgomery. I'm kind of debating not starting Montgomery I have to this week because with so many teams on a bye. But I'm really debating if I could get somebody or find somebody better. I'm really debating to sit him because it just, as much as I love my Bears, they seem to be using Herbert a lot more. And Chris is giving me some advice. Goddard gets a lot of check down passes on 3rd down. Yeah. That's the thing. It's Jalen Hurts, safety blanket. The Texans are one of the worst teams in the league. I don't know, though. I hate having guys on Thursday, unless if it is like a Jalen Hurts or Austin Eckler or something, because it scares me. Injuries can happen at any time. We just talked about the injuries. Cooper Kupp, guys, was probably this close to being out for the year. It could happen at any time. You think a team is hot and they're feeling good, and as soon as their big player goes down, they're done. I have Jamar Chase. One of my teams, I got Jamar Chase. I was doing good. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go on Monday night with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I'm going to put up 80 points. It's going to be a good day. But didn't happen. Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks, 3 to 5 weeks now, and it didn't work out that way. So it's okay. But injuries can happen at any time. The last thing that I learned this week, Burrow and Chase. Burrow needs Chase. I didn't realize how much Murray needed Hopkins. Murray and Hopkins are back, baby. The dynamic duo are back in the NFL. We might be able to trust Kyler Murray because he always just says, Hopkins down there somewhere, and he throws it. And he scored 39 points. Joe Burrow scored 23. Last week, Murray scored 23 and Burrow scored 50. It's wild how it happens. But maybe that's all Kyler Murray needed was DeAndre Hopkins. And that's what I learned this week. Coming out of week 8, going into week 9. And now that we talked about the things I learned, let's get some frustration out. And it's sad because I have 2 out of 5 of these guys, or 6 out of 6 of these guys. I have 2 out of 6 of these guys on my team, and I needed to win really bad, but it did not happen. Josh Reynolds. With Amon St. Brown back and DeAndre Swift, I think it's okay and it's safe to say that Josh Reynolds can go back to the waiver wire. You could probably drop him, maybe put him on your bench as a stash in case Amon and Swift get hurt again, because that is very possible. But, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It just was not a good game for Josh Reynolds. Lions can't play football again. They forgot how to. And like I said, with DeAndre Swift and Amon St. Brown back, obviously those are the only 2 targets that Jared Goff looks to. And now with TJ Hawkinson, that may help him a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't want to trust it. I can't trust it. Brian Robinson Jr., this guy coming off of an injury, coming out, he scored a touchdown on Thursday night, scored 12 fantasy points. I thought the Commanders were going to give him a chance, but they obviously still like Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson has proven that he's the guy to put in the backfield when they need passing, when they need running, when they need anything. He catches, he passes. I'm surprised he didn't throw the ball like McCaffrey did. But Mr. Oh my God, Brian Robinson. I forgot the name for a second. I was about to say J.D. McKisson. But Brian Robinson only scored 2 points, guys, and I just don't know if I can trust Brian Robinson right now. And, I don't know if I want to deal with the Commanders' backfield at all. Gabriel Davis, he scored 5 points. The Bills, Josh Allen just finds himself a new receiver every week that he likes. This week it was Stephon Diggs. Gabriel Davis will be perfectly fine. Keep starting him. Start every Bill. And speaking of the Bills, if you guys did not hear, Nyheim Hines has been traded from the Colts to the Bills, and the Bills just added a little bit more. So the Bills added a little bit more, guys. Eno Benjamin, I talked about James Conner. He was out last week, and I thought Eno Benjamin was going to have a great game. But nope, He goes out, he puts up 8 fantasy points, and he did not do very much for the Cardinals. Murray decided to throw the ball 15 million times to DeAndre Hopkins. He's like, Hopkins, you're back. Let me just throw it to you. Chuck, 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 chuck. Josh Jacobs went out last week, guys, put up 34 points. He was in the top 10 performances this week. And 1 week later, he's sitting here in the disappointments with 7 points. And the Raiders are a disaster. They can't do anything right. They lost this week. They just could not do anything. Devontae Adams only had 1.7 points, 1.2 points in some leagues. He did not have himself a very good game. It was just not good at all. So, I don't know what's going on with the Raiders, but they're so up and down. I don't know if I could trust them. Tino, you should make a fan film. What kind of a fan film, Carlito? What's up, Carlito? Thanks for coming in and hanging out with your boy Tino on this afternoon. I appreciate it. Now let's get to the top 10 performances of the week, guys. Because these guys, if you had these guys, you probably won. And let's start off with 3 top running backs that we probably drafted in the first round. And this was the week that they decided to go out, show out, and put up all the fantasy points. Alvin Kamara, he caught everything. He ran everything. Andy Dalton used him exactly how Alvin Kamara should be used. He scored 42.8 points. And Alvin Kamara, you had AK? I know you were feeling real good about having Alvin here on Sunday. Christian McCaffrey. We talked about McCaffrey in the headlines. He threw a touchdown, he rushed for a touchdown, and he caught a touchdown. He did the 3-hat trick. He caught all 3. He did the triple crown. Whatever you want to call it, Christian McCaffrey does it all. He scored 42 fantasy points, a short by 0.8 points off of what Alvin Kamara did. Christian McCaffrey, he's loving the Bay Area. Derrick Henry, when he sees the Houston Texans, all he sees is a garbage disposal because he feasted and he proved that why King Henry is the king and why I had to put him in the thumbnail. Because he went out, he had 200 yards, he had 2 touchdowns, he scored 35.8 fantasy points, and Derrick Henry, the only thing he didn't do was catch a ball and throw one like Christian McCaffrey did. I mean, I'm sure if they gave the ball to Derrick Henry. I know one year, a few years ago, he did. But, the fact that running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends can now get fantasy points from throwing touchdowns, or like on yesterday when Amari Cooper threw an interception because he didn't know where to throw it, that was awful. If Amari Cooper didn't get all those yards and stuff and he only had -2 points, I would have cried. But thank goodness for Amari Cooper because he did put up 134 yards. He had like 5 catches. He had a touchdown. He did have an interception, but he did make up for it. So just another top performance. But let's get to some wide receivers because we have A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown loving himself in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts just said, A.J., go down there and I'm just going to bomb it. He bombed it 3 times. A.J. Brown caught all 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown scored 39 fantasy points. And he had himself a really good game. I know on Thursday night it's going to be a bloodbath for the Texans. Tony Pollard, though. Tony Pollard, we talked about him also. He put up 33.7 fantasy points. And he showed the Bears defense that obviously the Bears aren't as good as we thought that they were when they went out and they beat the snot out of the Patriots on Monday night. Jalen Waddle, 30.6 points. Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, now Jeff Wilson, Chase Edmonds, now on the Broncos. With Raheem Mostert, it's going to be crazy to see that Dolphins backfield go, and it's going to be crazy. We have D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman, for 1 second, people, we have to take and we have to give all the respect in the world because the Panthers, I should say, they traded away Christian McCaffrey. Everybody said they don't want any part of it, and they went out, and D'Onta Foreman scored 30.6 fantasy points, and now D'Onta Foreman proved that he is the number 1 running back in Carolina. Parker says, is the Steelers going to the playoffs or not? Parker, I just don't think so, man. I don't think it's going to happen. DeAndre Hopkins. I said Kyler Murray loves his man DeAndre. DeAndre Hopkins is back, and if you took the chance on DeAndre and kept him on the suspension list, the bench, the IR, whatever you did with him, you kept him. It's definitely paying off now because he scores 27 fantasy points, and Kyler Murray proves that he loves his man DeAndre. DJ Moore. DJ Moore, man, he's got to feel like the biggest guy and the biggest man that just cost this team. He caught a touchdown to tie the game. He takes off his helmet. He throws it down. And because of that, they missed the extra point, and the Falcons end up winning in overtime, and the Panthers lose. So DJ Moore had himself a game. He had 27 fantasy points, and that helps us out. But if you're a Carolina fan, you got to be pissed off at him. Number 10, the last top performance of the week, guys. It's Kyler Murray. We got to give Kyler Murray some love. He put up 39 fantasy points. He went out. He showed out. He scored touchdowns left and right. He did his thing. And it's one of those things where if you have Kyler Murray, obviously it was the big reason because DeAndre Hopkins wasn't there. And now that Hopkins is back, I think that we could probably put Kyler Murray back in the start. Unless you have like a Josh Allen or you have two crazy quarterbacks. I don't know. But I think Kyler Murray, guys, is a very good option in the coming weeks. And those are the top 10 performances here on Week 8. Going in and coming out of Week 8, going into Week 9. I cannot believe halfway through the fantasy football season is over, guys. Week 9 is now ahead of us. And now we got to figure out a way to set our lineups, get the players we need, try to get a win this week. For me, in some of my leagues, I need a win very badly. So now that we recapped Week 8, and I told you as much as I could about Week 8, because we could be here for hours talking about Week 8. So many things happened. But now let's get into Week 9, and let's start previewing Week 9, and let's go over everything to help you set your lineups so you can take home the W, and you can just keep rolling through the fantasy season. And let's start it off, because now the teams are on byes. We got to start it off, guys, with the bye week blues. It's the bye week blues. It's the bye week blues. There's so many teams on byes, and there's just too many to name. So, I tried. We got a lot of teams on byes, guys. It's the bye week blues. We got the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey just put up 41 points, and now you got to put him on your bench. 49ers are on a bye. It's going to be a tough one for you Christian McCaffrey owners. Steelers are on a bye. Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson. I would just say Chase Claypool, but he got traded to the Bears, so he'll still play this week. It is only Tuesday. So all the guys that got traded today should be able to play this week. The Steelers, we got Pat Freiermuth. They got their defenses, and they're not their defense, but Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris. If you have Kenny Pickett for some reason in a 2-quarterback league, I don't know. But still, the Steelers on a bye week hurts us. The Giants, we got Saquon, we got Daniel, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, we got Sterling Shepard, we got Darius Slayton, if you were starting any of them. We got the Broncos. Dangerous Russ is back. He went out, he showed out in London, and now they're on a bye week. I mean, that still sucks, though, because we're missing Jerry Jeudy, we're missing Cordell Sutton, we're missing Greg Dulcich. I think that's how you say his name. And it's one of those things. The Broncos, Russell Wilson may be back. We'll have to find out in the upcoming weeks. Cowboys, them boys, guys. We got Dak Prescott, we got Zeke, we got Tony Pollard. We got C.D. Lamb. We got Dalton Schultz. We got there's a lot of guys on the Cowboys that we start in fantasy. We got Michael Gallup. We got a lot of people. We got the defense. The defense has been putting in work. The defense is putting up numbers like they're a quarterback in fantasy football. Cowboys are a big one. And lastly, we got the Cleveland Browns coming off of their Halloween victory. They're going into a bye week. And that means for us fantasy owners this week, we're missing out on Jacoby Brissett. We're missing out on Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, David Njoku. If you started Harrison Bryant, even though he got no targets and no catches last night. Browns defense, if you started them in an awful, hopeful matchup, you got lucky last night. But it's the bye week blues, everybody, because there's a lot of teams on a bye, and we don't know what to do. So now that we talked about the blues, now that we talked about all the teams that are on a bye, let's start talking about the players to help you pick up and help you start, sit, and stream. And let's just get into all the players that guys you could replace that are on a bye, injuries, and so much more, because this is getting down to the nitty gritty. We're in week 9. Fantasy football season playoffs usually start around week 14 or 15, depending on what type of a league you're in. So we're only a month away from the playoffs, guys. I can't believe I'm saying it, but the fantasy season is flying by. We're almost at Christmas. We're in November. October's in the books. We're on our way to Christmas. It's just crazy. So now that we talked about all the bye weeks, let's get into the bold predictions before we get into all the players. And my bold predictions, this is probably the only thing I've been doing good on the podcast here, guys, is my bold predictions. So this week, my bold predictions, it's a bold one. We got the Jets. The Jets are beating the Bills. The Jets are going to do it, and the Jets are going to beat Josh Allen. They're going to beat Gabriel Davis, and they're going to beat the Jets. And the Bills are going to be, and I'm just going to be shocked. Herbert, it throws 6 touchdowns versus the Falcons. Falcons defense is not good at all, people. There's just no team. The Falcons off defensive is just not good. Herbert's coming off of a bye. He's gonna put in some work. He's gonna do his thing, and he's gonna have himself a really good game. Bears keep Waddle and Tyreek Hill under 100 yards receiving combined. This is a bold one. I think it could happen. I think we could possibly see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle under 100 yards receiving, but probably not. They're probably going to score a bunch of points, and then it's going to be a bloodbath. So we'll have to see what happens with that. What's up, Eric? How you doing? I'm mad Dakota lost her belt. Man, I know. We're going to have to talk about that. Everybody, if you're just joining us, drop your questions, your concerns. Let me know what you guys think of that week 8 going into week 9. The drop questions, waiver wire pickups. Let me know any questions you guys got. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 500, so I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys all for coming and hanging out here this afternoon. I do appreciate it. We are now hitting the waiver wire. So if you want to go back and you want to listen to the rest of the episode on delay, or if you want to go back and start from the beginning, go ahead. Or if you want to wait till the end, you could also do that. But now we're getting into the good stuff. We're getting into all the players you need to pick up, you need to start, you need to sit, and then you need to stream going into week 9 with all the buys, with all the injuries, with everything that's going on. So let's get to these 5 waiver wire pickups. And number 5, Chase Claypool, guys. He's just traded, and he was just traded to the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields has put up a lot of fantasy points, and the Bears have put up a lot of points in general the last 2 weeks. Justin Fields is trying to finally figure it out. He's starting to figure it out, is what I should say. And I think adding Chase Claypool to the Bears offense with Darnell Mooney, with David Montgomery, with Khalil Herbert, with Cole Kmet, I think that it's going to be an absolute banger of a pickup for the Bears. And if you need a wide receiver this week with all the guys on bye, with all the teams that you're missing wide receivers from, I definitely give them a shot. Number 4, Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin, he had a few good weeks, and then he went out yesterday and he showed up versus the Patriots. And even though the Jets didn't do very well and the Jets are probably coming back to life, I think that Tyler Conklin, especially in the tight end position, because the tight end position is the hardest position that we have to deal with every week here in fantasy football. So Tyler Conklin, number 4, pick him up and put him in your lineup with all the buys this week. Justin Fields, my man Justin Fields. I've been waiting to talk about this one because I wanted to see if he could do it a few weeks in a row. And last week versus the Cowboys, yes, the Bears got down a lot, but Justin Fields didn't give up. The Bears got within 5 points, and then it kind of just went downhill. But Justin Fields still put up 31 fantasy points. You're missing 6 quarterbacks this week. You're in 2 quarterback leagues, or if you're lucky and maybe you're just struggling, go pick up Justin Fields. Put him in your lineup, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but maybe you could finally start a fantasy quarterback for the Chicago Bears in fantasy football. Hey now, this is where we're at. Number 2, Greg Dulcich, the tight end from the Denver Broncos. This man scored 10.8 fantasy points, guys, on a drive. On one drive, this guy scored 10.8 fantasy points. And, again, this guy, the Broncos are on a bye, but you need a tight end. Tight ends are one of, again, like I said, hardest position to find. So I think that Greg is a very good pickup for and from the Denver Broncos to keep on your team when your quarterback, or when your tight end, not a quarterback, when your tight end is on a bye. My number one pickup though for the week, it's changed a lot because, what's up, Edward? Before we get into the number one waiver wire pickup, let's answer Edward's question. How are you doing, Edward? He says, I'm debating. I trade Fournette and Mike Evans for CeeDee Lamb and Swift. I kind of like that. So would you be getting Swift and CD? Because as long as Swift can stay healthy, I think Swift is great because he catches the ball out of the backfield and Jared Goff loves to check it down. So I think getting Swift is great. And CD is proven that he's the number one in Dallas, especially with Dak Prescott. I think Dak knows that he's got to throw it to CD. So Edward, if you're getting CD and Swift, I definitely would do that. I think it's not a bad deal. Because then you're getting rid of 2 Buccaneers and you're getting 2 players on 2 different teams. And that's another thing I'll say. I hate drafting players and having too many players of the same team on my team. Because then when a bye happens, you're kind of screwed. So, Eric, or should I trade Cook and Mike Evans for Waddle and Swift? If you could get Waddle, man, I would try to get Waddle. I mean, if you can get Waddle. No, I'm not, Eric. I'm not ignoring your question. I just wanted to answer Edward's question first. I'm not ignoring. I saw it. We do want to pray for Corey and Carmella, guys, for everything that happened. I was going to talk about it before NXT started tonight because this is a football show. But yes, I want to take a moment to put my prayers and condolences out to the Carmella and Corey Graves for the miscarriage. Carmella didn't have to tell her story, and she didn't have to do all that she did on Instagram. But she did, and that's awesome for her to do. So I do want to take a second, and we will talk a little bit more about it tonight, but we're obviously not going to get too much into it because it's not it's none of our business. But I do want to take a second, Eric. So yeah, I do. But we had to answer Edward's question too first because, we're trying to answer everybody's question. We got to get it all in. Tino is still John Cena. No, Tino is Jason Benetti. Tino is Jason Benetti right now. Jason Benetti. Jason Benetti fan club. Let's not talk about the White Sox. White Sox are a disaster. That's another whole podcast. I don't know. Hopefully, Edward, that answers your question, man. No problem, Edward. If you want to subscribe, man, I'd appreciate it. I'm here every week. We watch football games. And ask me anything else. You got anything else? I'm always here for you, man. So thank you for coming, hanging out, asking a question. I do appreciate it. Let's get to the waiver wire pickups, though. If you have any more questions, Edward, let me know. I'll be here all day for you. Isaiah Pacheco, I should say. He, number one running back for the Chiefs. Apparently, he was last week when they did and when they came and when they were in the thing. But they were, So we'll have to see what happens with the Chiefs coming off of their bye week with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, with Isaiah, with the running back situation, with who else they got? They got what's his name? McKinnon. They got Jerick McKinnon too. So we'll have to see. But I think definitely having a running back from the Chiefs with all the bye weeks coming up is a good option to have. So go get the running back from the Chiefs as my number one waiver wire pickup for week 9. You could also go out and get Devin Duvernay. You could go out and get Isaiah Likely. We'll talk about him in my streams of the week. There's a lot of other guys you can go out there and get. Just make sure. Jordan says, you want to talk about Alexa and Asuka winning the belts back? Or are you saying, do you want to talk about Dakota and Io winning the belts back at Crown Jewel? Jordan, we're going to talk about that tonight when we watch them on NXT. Now that we talked about the waiver wire pickups, let's get into the starts, the sits, and the streams here for week 9. And the guys you can put in your lineup, guys you need to take out of your lineup, and the guys you can put in your lineup for the guys that you are going to take out. So let's get to the starts. And my starter quarterback of the week, we're just going to start picking on the Falcons because, guys, the Falcons' passing defense is a disaster. They cannot cover anybody. So, Justin Herbert, coming off of a bye, I think that Justin Herbert is going to go out. He's going to show out. He's going to do his thing. And I think Justin Herbert is an absolute stellar start this week here in Week 9 as he goes up against the Atlanta Falcons. We also have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers going up. He's showing out. I think this is the game he shows out versus the Detroit Lions. If this isn't the game and the Detroit Lions beat Aaron Rodgers, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen because then I think it's time to put Jordan Love in the game. Just saying. But Aaron Rodgers, if he can't do it versus the Lions, I don't know who he's going to do it versus. So start Aaron Rodgers this week. Miles Sanders, Houston Texans. They gave up 200 yards to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was feeding. He was like beast mode. He was like, give me those Skittles. And Miles Sanders, Miles Sanders going up against the Texans. We saw what Austin Eckler did. I think Phillies on Thursday night is going to be a barn burner. Devin Singletary versus the Jets. I did this and I planned this out last night. So before the Nyheim Hines trade happened. So possibly I think Devin Singletary is a good start. But I think the Nyheim Hines will get involved somehow, some way. T. Higgins. With Jamar Chase out, I think that T. Higgins has come and proven that he is the number one for Joe Burrow. And as long as Jamar Chase is out, I think that Joe Burrow is a very good start. Or I think T. Higgins is a very good start. Joe Burrow is a very good start too this week versus the Panthers. And, you know, I don't know. Joe Burrow has a good week. This guy has a good week. It's so hard to tell. But T. Higgins, a lock in the lineup. And I just wanted to give this man some flowers because he was suspended. Everybody thought and everybody passed on him, and including me. I passed on him in a few leagues, and now I'm kind of mad at myself for doing that because I have Kyler Murray in a few of my leagues. So DeAndre Hopkins, put him back in your lineup. Keep him there. Never touch him as long as the Cardinals aren't on a bye, and as long as he doesn't do anything and he stays healthy, DeAndre Hopkins must start every single week. I just wanted to give DeAndre Hopkins some flowers for a second. Dallas Goedert versus the Texans. The Texans' offense is not good. The Texans' defense, not good. Dallas Goedert, we always need tight ends. And honestly, if Mark Andrews, like I was telling you earlier, this is my debate that I'm having this week. Do I start Dallas Goedert on Thursday? Or do I wait until all the way to Monday and hope that Mark Andrews gets healthy enough? I don't know. But I think that I might deal and I might start Dallas Goedert this week going up against the Texans. And I think Dallas Goedert is going to have himself a very good game. Hopefully he does. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, my man? Thanks for coming and hanging out here on this Tuesday afternoon. I appreciate it. We're here live a little later this week because of the trade deadline. The trade deadline special, guys. We had a trade deadline, the NFL trade deadline. And speaking of the trade deadline, the other tight end I'm going to tell you to start this week, he is the newest member of the Minnesota Vikings, and they are going up against the Washington Commanders. TJ Hawkinson. I don't know why the Lions traded TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, but I guess it is what it is, and now the Vikings are in the lead in the NFC North. They got a lead on the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings just got even better. So TJ Hawkinson, put in your lineup. The Patriots defense versus the Colts. The Colts offense, obviously, is a disaster. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust this guy. You can't trust that guy. I have no idea. But the Patriots defense is really good, and they prove it every single week. So start the Patriots this week versus the Indianapolis Colts. Now let's get into the sits of the week. And let's talk about the guys you need to take out of your lineup, and you need to not put in your lineup because I just don't think they're going to have a good week. Marcus Mariota going up against the Chargers. Yes, the Chargers lost J.C. Jackson. Yes, the Chargers have had a few injuries, but the Chargers are still good. They're coming off of a bye week. I think Herbert's going to go bananas versus their defense, and I think the Chargers defense is going to be refueled, and I think the Chargers are just going to go out and they're going to beat the snot out of the Falcons on Sunday, and I think the Chargers are just going to run away. So keep Marcus Mariota out of your lineup. Jared Goff versus the Packers. Jared Goff, I can't deal with Jared Goff. That's great. Pass it to DeAndre Swift. Pass it to Amon St. Brown. Pass it to TJ. Oh, no, I forgot you gave him to the Vikings. Don't pass it to TJ Hawkinson. Throw it to Josh Reynolds. I don't care. Just, I can't deal with Jared Goff. I can't deal with that, man. I really can't. So, Jared Goff, I'm keeping you out of my lineup this week. Dameon Pierce. This isn't more of a sit. This is more of a beware. Beware of Dameon Pierce. He's going up against the Eagles. The Eagles probably will get out to a very big lead. Eagles will probably be demolishing, and I just don't know how much they're going to run the ball with Pierce, with them being down so much. So, Dameon Pierce is a beware for Tino this week. The Jets running back, also, I don't know who to trust. Do I trust Michael Carter? Do I trust James Robinson? Do I trust me? Do I trust this guy? Do we have Peyton Hillis back? Do we have Ty Johnson back? What are we doing here, Jets offense? I have no idea. It's awful that Bryce Hill is out for the season, and it just takes a damper in the thing. And not that Michael Carter had an awful game. I think he had, 13 points. But I just don't know versus the Bills if I want to trust the Jets running backs. Especially, you might have to if you're having a bye week blues and you're missing all the players on a bye. But I just don't know if I can deal with it. Garrett Wilson, another Jets. Honestly, just sit all the Jets besides maybe Tyler Conklin, because there are 6 teams on a bye and we always need a tight end. I just don't know if I can trust any of the Jets players this week. My other wide receiver, Christian Kirk, Captain Kirk, had himself a great first few weeks of the season, and then he came back to earth. He forgot how to be a captain, and him and Trevor Lawrence just aren't on the same connection. So Christian Kirk is a sit for me this week, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders need a win bad and more than anything in this world. I just don't know if they're going to do it versus the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars might win. And speaking of the Jaguars, we'll talk about the Jaguars later. This defense you need to sit this week. It's the Lions versus the Packers. Don't get cute here, people. Don't think just because Aaron Rodgers has been having a bad game, this is what Aaron Rodgers wants. Don't think just because Aaron Rodgers isn't that. He always beats the Bears and the Lions, and he don't care what day, year, month, second, minute, day of what year, minute, month of the year it is. He don't care. He doesn't care. He beats the Bears. He beats the Lions. So, don't start the Lions defense. Rodgers might throw a pick or two, but I still think he'll throw four touchdowns, and I still think the Lions will lose. So, don't start the Lions defense this week, even though Packers and me watching the Packers crumble in front of my very own eyes as a Bears fan is beautiful. I just don't know. And I know Aaron Rodgers too well to know that this man's not going to let the Lions beat him this week. Streams of the week. We're going to start it off here first. I'm giving my man Justin credit some love too. He went out. He had a great game versus the Patriots. He had a great game versus the Cowboys, putting up 31 fantasy points last week. And I think he put up the same amount of number, or maybe even a little bit more the week before. Justin Fields going up against the Miami Dolphins. He's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to run the ball. The Bears are at home, so they don't have to deal with the heat in Miami. And I think this is the game the Dolphins possibly could be, and they could get upset in, and I'm hoping for it. But I think that Justin Fields, still, with 6 teams on a bye, you got to go down to the nitty-gritty. So Justin Fields is a great stream this week. Andy Dalton, another ex-Bear, I should say, another Bear. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, going up against that Ravens defense. The Ravens defense is awful. They can't do anything right. They're just, I don't know what's going on. And I think the Saints, they went out and they showed how to use Alvin Kamara. And if they do the exact same thing that they did last week, I think that Andy Dalton will have another great game versus the Ravens. And again, 6 teams on a bye, so you got to do what you got to do. Streams of the week. This guy's back in my streams, and I'm hoping it works this week. Kenyon Drake versus the Saints on Monday night, going up against New Orleans. I think Kenyon Drake is a good flex option with 6 teams on a bye. If you're missing a McCaffrey, if you're missing a Melvin Gordon, or if you're missing Saquon, if you're missing this guy and that guy, there's just so many bye weeks. You got to try to do what you got to deal with. And I don't even believe I'm saying it again, but I think you could stream a Falcons running back, Tyler Aguilar, I think, hopefully I'm saying that right, Going up against the Chargers, I don't trust Marcus Mariota, but I do trust the running back, because just because Marcus Mariota has to throw the ball or chuck it down to him doesn't mean that Marcus Mariota will get more points than Tyler. So start Tyler as a flex option RB2 if you are, and like I said, there's a lot of bye weeks, and I'm going to continue to pound it in people's head because it's bye week blues, everybody. There's just a lot of teams on a bye. So the wide receivers now that you can stream this week. Alec Pierce, I think Alec Pierce is a good streaming option this week. Going up against the Patriots, I think the Colts are going to have to throw the ball. Sam Ehlinger is going to get comfortable. Hopefully he does. And even if the Patriots defense has themselves a really good game defensively, doesn't mean that Alec Pierce can't still catch like five catches for like 70 yards and a touchdown. And that puts you at like 19 points. And for a bye week wide receiver, I take that all day long. Wide receiver of the Saints. I think you would stream the wide receiver from the Saints. Andy Dalton proved that he likes throwing it. Yes, he threw it to Alvin Kamara a lot, but Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry. I think that the Saints wide receiving core is a very good option this week. Going up against the Ravens, like I said, you start Andy Dalton, you also start his weapons. Isaiah Likely. I was going to say this guy, and I talked about it earlier in the injuries. Isaiah Likely going up against Seattle with going up against the Saints, I should say. I have a lot of Saints and Ravens game. I think this game could be a very good fantasy game of the week. Ravens, Mark Andrews. We saw him leave with a shoulder injury on Thursday night, and it's one of those things that if Mark Andrews can't play, we saw that Isaiah got involved, he got a touchdown, and we always need some tight ends. Tyler Conklin, another tight end you can stream. Only Jets player I'd probably start this week versus the Bills, because we always need tight ends, like I say, and it's just one of those things where tight ends are always very, very helpful to the point where, I think that it would work. So those are all of the player options that I have for the streams. And lastly, the defense you can stream. The streaming defense of the week, I think, is the Chargers versus the Falcons. Chargers, they going up against the Falcons coming off of a bye. Khalil Mack is getting a little healthy. Everybody's getting a little healthier. I think they're going to carve up Marcus Mariota. Not saying that Tyler can't get a few touchdowns, and maybe Marcus will have a good game. Maybe. We need Kyle Pitts to have another good game. Kyle Pitts is another one. Kyle Pitts, shout out to Kyle Pitts, the Atlanta Falcons, finally for using our guy Kyle Pitts and finally proving that Kyle Pitts, if you throw him the ball, you win football games. You see how easy that is? So everybody, those are the starts, those are the sits, and those are the streams here for week 8, or week 9, I should say. Coming out of week 8, going into week 9. And now that I talked about all the players that you need to put in your lineup, take out, and the guys you can put in your lineup for the guys I told you to take out, let's get into the games that are going to be fantasy gold. And if you have these guys, you need to start all of them in these games. We've talked about it, and I said it, and if you were just listening, the Ravens and the Saints. It's going to be a fantasy bonanza, a fantasy galore on Monday night next week. We're watching Monday Night Raw. We're watching Monday Night Football. And I think Lamar, the Ravens, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, Alvin Kamara, and the Saints. It's just going to be a scoring bonanza. We got the Titans. We got the Chiefs. It's a rematch of the playoffs. I cannot wait to see it again, and I think that this match is going to be absolutely great. It's going to be points scored everywhere. I think there's going to be no defense. I think that it's just going to be a great game, and like I said, if you have any of these players, I think it's a very good stream and a very good game to start all of your players in these games. So those are the 3 games that I think are going to be fantasy gold. And lastly, guys, before we go into any questions, so if you do have any questions, guys, let me know. I'll be asking all your questions, answering all your questions. So let me know. Drop them, starts, sits, trades, anything you guys got about wrestling. Let me know. We'll talk here for a little bit if you want to, but if not, and there's no chats in there, we're gonna say goodbye until we go and we watch some NXT tonight on the USA Network. But before we do all that, let's get in to the 3 guarantees of week 9 and next week. I guarantee you we'll be talking about these things. Ravens versus Saints, barn burner. I said it. Next Tuesday, when we are sitting here, I think that it's going to be a great barn burner game. It's going to be one game that we have a lot of top performances in. And I just guarantee you that Monday night's going to be a banger. Bills kill Jets. I guarantee you the Bills are going to kill the Jets. I know I said in my bold predictions that the Jets are going to beat the Bills, but let's be real here. Do we all think that that's going to happen? I mean, shit, the way this fantasy season, the way this football season is going, anything could happen. But yeah. The last thing that I'm going to tell you and guarantee of the week, we're all going to have this week the bye week blues. I said it earlier and I made a little song. We did a little bye week blues, and it's a bye week blues with so many teams on a bye, and yeah. But it's going to be tough. We got 6 teams on a bye. There's a lot of guys missing. If you have these guys, I know I was looking at my lineup, and one of my lineup, it just said bye. I was like, oh shit, I messed up when I draft. So this week is going to be the bye week blues, everybody. It's not going to be fun, but I hope all of this information helps you guys and we can get through it together, because week 9 probably going to be as crazy as it was week 8, week 7, week 6. This season has been wild. I thought I knew what I knew about fantasy football, but I know absolutely nothing. So now that I gave you all the information from week 8, I previewed week 9. We talked about all the players, all the things that I think are going to happen. Everybody, drop your questions, drop your concerns, ask me some questions, let me know. But if you guys don't want to, I guess I'll go over the schedule for the rest of the week, and then we'll say goodbye till NXT tonight. So guys, let's go over the schedule, and then we'll get into some questions. And if there aren't any questions in the comments, then that's okay. I understand. I know it's a little later, but I appreciate all of you guys coming and hanging out here on Tino's Time this afternoon and talking some football. I do appreciate it. So we're not done here yet today, guys, on Tino's Time. We have a doubleheader like we always do here on Tino's Time on Tuesday night. Come and hang out tonight as we watch NXT. We got ourselves Mandy Rose. It's her 1-year anniversary. We're going to see Schism involved. What is Schism going to have to say? The new NXT champion, or NXT North American champion, I should say, Wesley. And you guys see I got Chase U and Brody in there. But sadly, the blonde dude, I heard somebody say blonde dude. I was like, that's funny. Brody has been released from WWE, so he will not be on the show tonight, but we'll keep that anyway. We're also going to see my man R-Truth on the show. What is R-Truth going to bring the Tuesday night? Going up against Grayson Waller. So guys, come and hang out tonight as we watch NXT Black and White, Black and Gold, and we have ourselves a good Tuesday night. Mandy, he says, hell yeah, we also are celebrating 1 year of Mandy Rose. Let's go. And then tomorrow, guys, it's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Dynamite. We're going to see Renee sit down with Britt Baker, DMD, Saraya. We're going to see a triple threat All-Atlantic Championship match. We're going to see Jon Moxley fight. We got a lot of stuff going on. Actually, I have the card right here. This is the full card. We're going to see Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. We're going to see Chris Jericho versus a former Ring of Honor champion. And like I said, we're going to see Saraya and Britt Baker, Saraya and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, sit down with Renee Paquette. And something that happened over the weekend that I just don't understand why it got blown out of proportion. We're going to see Jade Cargill put her TBS title on the line against Marina Shafira. And, I mean, I might get harassed for saying this or anything, but I don't really care. Because it's one of those things that, it's one of those things where I feel like people don't understand everything going on. The Jade Cargill and the Marina Shafira stuff, they went nuts because of something JD from New York said. And I don't understand why they blew it out of proportion. You got it made him trendy, and it put I understand that people might not like what everybody has to say, but it's our opinions. We all have our own opinions, everybody might not like what we have to say, and everybody might not agree with what I have to say, or what he has to say, or what this person has to say, or what you have to say. But it's our opinions. We all like different things. And if we didn't like different things, then this world would be boring and there would be no reason for it. So, we're going to see the TBS Championship match tomorrow, but I wanted to take a second because I saw all this stuff and it really made me sick because I just don't understand why people do that to other people when they don't deserve it. And we're all just out here trying to make videos. We're all out here trying to do our best. And it's kind of ridiculous because it just brings out and it shows that some of these people are, it's just nuts. So, we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight on NXT and tomorrow for AEW, but that was the card for AEW. So Wednesday night, guys, tomorrow night, come and hang out and watch AEW. And then Thursday, come and hang out Thursday afternoon at 5:30. It's a little later this week, guys. 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time as me and my man Anthony from Rated R for Wrestling are going to go over all matches that are going to go down on Saturday night. We're going to talk about Bray Wyatt. We're going to talk about everything going on. We're going to talk about the new Women's Tag Team Champions. We're going to talk about all of the returns. Emma, we're going to talk about a lot of things. So, Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Thursday evening at 5:30. 5:30, guys. Turn that notification button on. 5:30. Come and hang out with me and Anthony as we talk about everything that's going to go down at Crown Jewel. And then Friday night, or Friday afternoon, I should say, at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, it's time for another collection episode. It's pay-per-view weekend, baby, and it's time for Tino to show you what he added to his collection. So I don't know if you guys can figure out by the pictures that pictures have kind of something to do, so if you guys could figure it out, you guys will figure it out, but we'll be here on Friday at 3:30 to show you all the stuff that I added to my collection before we go to Friday night and we watch Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown has been taped last week after Friday Night SmackDown was live there, but because they are in Saudi Arabia, obviously they had to tape the show. So it is taped, and I've been trying to stay away from the spoilers, but we're going to hear from Uncle Howdy, I'm sure. LA Knight is probably going to be in a match. I think he is in a match, to be honest. Liv Morgan going up against Sonya Deville in a no disqualification match. We got Gunther putting the Intercontinental title on the line against my man Buika 619, Rey Mysterio. So Friday night, come and hang out. Let's watch some Friday Night SmackDown. Let's watch the World Series. Let's watch some baseball. Let's talk some more. And guys, it's a good week here on Tino's Time. And then, lastly for wrestling, let's end the week off here on Saturday, here on Tino's Time Wrestling. And let's watch Crown Jewel. Let's watch all 6 matches. Let's watch Bray Wyatt. Let's see the Steel Cage, the last woman standing, the 6-man tag. We're going to see so many great matches. We're going to see Brock versus Bobby. We're going to see Braun versus Omos. I don't know if that one's that exciting, but we're still going to see it. So, guys, Saturday night, 6:30. Come and hang out. Or not 6:30. I'm sorry. We're actually live earlier in the morning. I'm sorry. That's right. We're in Saudi. So it is actually 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We will be live here. Because actually it might be 10:30. It's either 10:30 or 11:30 to be honest, because of all of, because it is in Saudi. So everybody, we're going to be here live, whatever time it may be. We'll be watching Crown Jewel. So hopefully you guys set your notification button and you guys come and hang out too with your boy Tino. And then we have, as we end the week here, always here on Tino's Time, it's time for week 9 of the NFL football and fantasy football season. So everybody, make sure to come and hang out with your boy Tino on Sunday as we end the week here on Tino's Time and we watch some NFL football action go down. And there's a lot of action to talk about because it was, and it is the trade deadline. We got a lot of teams to trade places, guys. So, yeah. But we have Jordan. What's up, Jordan? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Oh boy, wrestling, Tino. And these Bailey needs to win the Raw Women's. Chris, I think so. Rated R Superstar, Rated R Wrestling. There's Chris. How mad are what's up, Chris? He says I'm pissed. Figured you was. What's a surprise? Yeah. 24/7 title. Figured you were as a surprise. Omos? Yes, Omos. Guys, I appreciate you guys all so much for coming here, hanging out with your boy Tino on this Tuesday afternoon as we talked a little bit of football and as we talked a little bit of wrestling. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got wrestling, we got the trade deadline, we got Crown Jewel, we got the World Series, we got the baseball playoff or the baseball whatever stuff going on. White Sox are the last team to hire a general manager. We'll be doing a podcast about that later, and later on about once the season ends about the whole White Sox and everything. So that's a different podcast for a different day. So I appreciate all of you guys, and if you guys want to hear more of me and you miss me so much until we go live for NXT tonight, remember to go follow all the social medias, SoundCloud, Spotify, at Tino's Time Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook, Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for all your baseball and fantasy football needs, guys. Go and follow all the social medias. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate all of the new subscribers we've been gaining lately. I hope we keep gaining and we're on the road to 500. Everybody, you guys have all joined the raffle, so continue to support your boy Tino. And finally, turn that notification button on so you guys know when we go live tonight for NXT and the rest of the amazing episodes that we have the rest of the week here on Tino's Time and Tino's Time Wrestling, guys. So go get some food, have a good evening, and until tonight, we watch NXT on the USA Network and we celebrate Mandy Rose 1 year anniversary of being the NXT Women's Champion. We hear from Braun Breaker and so much more, guys. I'll see you guys all in a little bit for NXT, and this is your boy Tino, signing out. Yes, Carlito, you are in the raffle. Yes, Jordan, you are in the raffle. And I will see all of you guys tonight.